Hi and welcome to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the unceded land where this conversation takes place, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. You can tell a lot about a chef by how they talk about repetition. For Aaron, it's not tedious, it's essential. He grew up in Perth, found his culinary footing in a seafood restaurant with a small team, and eventually landed in London where the kitchens were louder, faster and far more intense. Aaron's career spans Michelin-starred restaurants, big-name mentors like Jason Atherton and Shane Osborn, and some of Melbourne's best-known venues like Cumulous, Scott Pickett's restaurants, as well as Oakridge Winery. But through it all, it's the quiet stuff that matters most. Being organised, staying curious, and learning how to lead with purpose. Aaron says he draws inspiration from everywhere. Books, seasons, dining out, memory. And after all these years, he still genuinely loves being in the kitchen. That short, sharp burst of service, it's where he feels most at home. We're sitting in O'Connell's pub, which is a pub that has a lot of history. Number one, it's old in South Melbourne. But number two, it's got a really big name for being a gastro pub or a pub where lots of, I guess, famous culinary people have come through. So Greg Malouf and Andrew McConnell, I think. That's right, was here. And
Adrian Richardson at some point. Yeah.
Yes, and I did have a wild talk to him before La Luna shut down.
Yeah.
So it is really great to speak to you. And I came to the dinner a couple of weeks ago, which was really delicious. And you spoke so well then, which can be daunting in front of a room of people.
Yeah, it's not my natural habitat, that's for sure.
No, and I know that nowadays chefs being perhaps forced to speak to media or speak in front of groups of people, it's probably a new thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's always comfortable if there's a past in front of you, but when you get a step out from there, it becomes a little more daunting and uncomfortable.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So let's start with talking about the food, and it is a pub, but the food is described as elevated pub food. So what does that mean?
Good question. I mean, I guess my background isn't in pubs, so trying to sort of take what I've learned over, a number of years and sort of marry that into the pub setting. I mean, pubs are kind of a place that are everything to everyone. So I guess, it's a hard one, but it's just trying to pare back a little bit of what I'm used to and sort of incorporate that into things that people expect in a pub. So.
I did wonder that because I feel as though there must be pressure to have certain things on a pub menu. So when you came here, this is your menu.
Yeah.
Where did you start creating that?
I mean, I guess when I started that, like you say, I was sort of directed that there were certain things that we couldn't change. So I guess I sort of looked at that and was like, all right, well, we can't change it, but what can we do to make it maybe a little bit more interesting, freshen it up a little bit? We're not trying to, I guess, reinvent the wheel, maybe just rediscover it a little bit. So instead of doing, a normal schnitzel with your cabbage salad, it's kind of, we'll do a Holstein. We sort of change the fish and chips. Instead of a beer batter, we'll do a crumb fish and chips. So it's kind of just taking the familiar elements, I guess, and then just changing it up and making it a little bit more interesting for us in the kitchen and also for the customers that are, used to the norm. Yeah.
And you've got a Josper.
Yeah.
And you've worked with Jospers before?
I haven't. I haven't worked with Josper before. We worked with lots of hibachi grills, and I've done quite a few events outside on wood-fired cooking. Some of them have been very homemade.
Yeah.
I mean, we did an event at Oakridge once. And we had these big cast iron planter boxes that we took out, and we basically dragged it in front of the restaurant, filled it with wood, and cooked a whole sort of 5-course dinner over that. So having the Josper is new, but cooking with fire is sort of not something that is entirely new.
Okay. Because it's a different way of cooking, isn't it? Well, obviously it's a different way of cooking, but in terms of having to be more aware of how to maintain the temperature and doing all those kinds of
Yeah.
things. Is that different with a Josper again, or is it similar?
Yeah, I guess anytime you're cooking with something that is, I guess, a natural fuel, requires a different attention to detail. It's not just like turning on your gas hob or induction or electricity. You know, you're dealing with something that changes. You know, if the wood's a little bit damp, if it's dry, you know, it's going to change. And obviously you need to maintain the fire through, you know, we're open from 12 lunchtime right through till 9 o'clock at night. So, you know, you need to be able to maintain the heat.
Yeah.
So that you're getting the same result.
What wood are you using?
We use ironbark.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I was speaking to some chefs the other day who are opening a place in the city, and they spoke about ironbark as being really great because it's consistent heat, but it doesn't flavour the meat too much or the food too much.
Yeah, so it sort of imparts a fairly mild flavour, but yeah, it does burn for a good amount of time and it's consistent.
Yeah. So what are you using the Josper for on the menu?
I mean, we try and use it through all of the menu, from entrees, mains, desserts, even. Obviously, steaks play a big part of what we do, so definitely that's sort of something we use it for. But then we've got some chestnuts on the menu in a dessert, so, you know, we're roasting chestnuts in the Josper. Occasionally we'll do some specials with some smoked elements, so it's kind of using the Josper in all of its, I guess, stages. You know, if we want to smoke something, we use it sort of early in the morning when we've got the smoke, and then even sort of cooking things overnight. Once it's, you know, you can put some whole potatoes or a pumpkin or something like that, because the residual heat's going to cook it through the course of the evening. So yeah, obviously scallops, seafood lend themselves really well to the Josper.
Yeah. And so when you take on a new role like this, and do you come in and just work with the existing menu for a start, or have you pre-thought out a menu, or how does it work? What's the transition?
Probably not great with structure, and I think the more I think about things, sometimes the worse the result is. So, but yeah, I mean, obviously we sort of came in and we sort of worked with what we had originally, because obviously being such a neighbourhood venue, the locals can probably be a little bit sensitive to change. But then saying that, I think the pub has gone through a lot of iterations over its lifespan. So yeah, we were conscious of not upsetting people too much, but at the same time we feel like they wanted something different, something new, something a bit more consistent. So yeah, like I said, we kind of looked at the classics and the things we couldn't change, and then everything else was up for grabs.
That's great. And in terms of suppliers, I'm imagining that when you work in the Yarra Valley in a winery, that you have lots of local suppliers around you. Is that, silly question, but is that different in the city?
Yeah, it's been a big change.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously at the winery we had a big garden, and we set some really strict parameters about what we would and wouldn't use. So yeah, and I had relationships with pretty much everything we used. The relationship we had was with people directly that were growing it or farming it. So then obviously coming back into the city and not having the luxury of walking out the back door and going, oh, you know, zucchinis are ready, tomatoes are ready, you know, artichokes are ready. It's been different, but I mean, I suppose I've been cooking longer than just the 7 years I was at Oakridge. So it's kind of just remembering what that was like before. I mean, we're pretty close to South Melbourne markets as well, so even a bit of a stroll through there on the odd morning, not that it probably happens as much as I would like, but even just a 30-minute stroll and sort of like, oh, you know, that's available or that looks good. This kind of gets the mind working.
Yeah. And then I guess it's just about making those relationships with the suppliers to be able to trust what they're.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess we've got a really good relationship with like Flinders Island, and then there's Red Coral Seafood, who use they source a lot of seafood from like down towards Wilson's Prom. So yeah, but I mean, using seafood again after so long of only using rainbow trout's been refreshing. It's been good.
Oh, of course. That's good. It is good you didn't use other seafood when you're inland. I like that.
I mean, we have got it on the menu here, so it might be a bit of PTSD.
Yeah.
It's just like, got to have it.
Yeah, but that's right. Yes, there was quite a good element of it, even in the dinner the other night, which I love seafood, so I'm always happy to see lots of seafood on a menu.
Yeah, I mean, the seafood dishes that we have on the menu tend to be the popular ones, apart from steaks, obviously.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So 7 years is a good length of time to spend in one place for a chef. I was speaking to someone the other night, and it was in a hotel restaurant, and the turnover in that hotel restaurant's been it's happened quite often.
Yeah.
And I said, gosh, they seem to come and go quite quickly, and the person said, oh, have you ever met a chef? And I was like, well, yeah, actually yes, but I always like it when chefs stay in one place for a period of time. It feels like then that they value that place and are really giving something towards it, and then you're able to train people more consistently. And so you must have loved it to stay there for 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's lots of elements that made it desirable. Obviously, being in a winery, you're pretty much just working day shifts.
Yeah.
I think we used to do maybe 10 or 15 nights a year, so that was good.
Yeah, that's good.
That was good. And then obviously when I first started there, we had Joe Barrett and Matt Stone were kind of running it, and the culture and the people that were there, it just really worked. So, and then even when they left, we sort of kept the same team, and I think there was a couple of people when I left that had been there almost the entire time that I'd been there. So I think it's probably a testament to those guys before, and then obviously when I took over, just being able to maintain, the culture and the cuisine and all of those things that is attractive to people. But I mean, throughout my whole career, I've had a pretty consistent, I guess, journey. I did 7 years at Oakridge. Before that, it was like 5 years with Scott Pickett, which was, he's a character. He's larger than life, and he's always on the go. So, to do 5 years with Scott was, that was good. And then even before that, even when I was in London, I sort of did 1 and 2 year stints, which is pretty good.
It is good.
And then even all the way back in Perth, when I was at the Subiac Hotel, I was there for 6 years again. So
okay,
throughout my whole career, I've sort of
good.
Maintained fairly consistent.
So you grew up in Perth?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you always know you wanted to be a chef?
Probably, yeah, pretty early.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I was comfortable doing.
Yeah.
I played a lot of sport when I was younger, and that whole team element, the repetitive nature of sport, I think is something that I enjoyed. And obviously you get that in the kitchen. I think a lot of people don't like repetition, but at the same time I think it's good. It's good because you can kind of really learn and grow and craft.
Yeah. So when you started in kitchens, did you work in an environment that I'm just wondering, a lot of people say when they first started there was still that shouty chef kind of mentality. Was that happening when you were...
I've been pretty lucky. I mean, when I started my apprenticeship, back when people actually did apprenticeships, I worked in the same venue for those 4 years, and it was a seafood restaurant. It wasn't amazing. We had a really small team. It was in Fremantle, and it was the viewing platform when the America's Cup was on. Not that I was that old when the America's Cup was here, but it was a seafood restaurant. We had a really small team, but we didn't come across, we didn't experience that sort of culture of shouting. That sort of came later.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we had a really small team, and I probably was put in a position where I had to be more responsible and be more organised than I would have normally, because we had such a small team. So yeah, while I didn't probably learn a lot of great culinary techniques and things like that. It did teach me to be organised and probably a bit more mature than I otherwise would have been.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's a good start though. Maybe that is the place to start with that, and then the culinary techniques come later. When did those?
I mean, after that, I kind of went and worked at the Subiaco Hotel, which kind of was an institution at the time, and that's sort of where I guess that started to come in. We had executive chef at the time was Ivan Mather, who was kind of a bit of a culinary face at the time, and Brad Burton, who was also there for the whole time. I mean, that place was just, it was big, it was busy, it was bustling. Like a Thursday and Friday lunch was almost like a private members club, because it was the same people week in, week out, month in, month out, yeah. So that was kind of where it happened. And I mean, even then, that's kind of where we got exposure to what was happening over in, Victoria and New South Wales, because I think AHA Awards, it was kind of like best restaurant in a pub in Australia with, I think we drew with like Circa at the time.
Wow.
So I think Michael Lambie was the head chef there. So yeah, we did 6 years there, and that kind of got me really interested. And then from there, it was off to London.
So that felt like the natural next step.
Yeah. Perth's pretty small, and it was probably even smaller then as far as restaurants and things like that, I think.
Was London a shock, a cultural shock? Or the kitchens even?
I don't know. It definitely was. I mean, like the hours and the intensity of it, but I don't know. Wasn't scared by it. That's kind of where you get it's probably where I first experienced, that aggressive, really intense kind of kitchen, and you definitely do become a bit of a product of your environment. But I think, like everything, you kind of everything's a learning experience, right? You take the good, the bad, the indifferent and the ugly, and you kind of try and mould that into who you want to be further on down the track. So yeah, I mean, I loved it. It was hard, but I learnt a lot. Probably learnt more learn what not to do, there wasn't a lot of explaining on why you would do something. You kind of learn things by watching and sort of, I don't want to do that because, you're going to get in trouble. So
yeah, that's right. So where did you work in London?
So actually, where did I work? I worked at the Bendham for a little while, which was in the Michelin building, which was a bit of a short stint, but it was a very classic kind of environment, and I sort of did that for 6 months and then sort of realised I wanted something more. And then I ended up at Maze with Jason Atherton for two years. So I sort of worked my way up from chef de partie and sort of finished as a sous chef. But I mean, that was intense, and that was good because that was kind of, it was so in the limelight, I guess, and obviously had owned by Gordon Ramsay as well. So, the first time you see him walk through the door, you're just kind of like, oh shit. But I guess a lot of what his persona is for the TV.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it was, there was a time, I suppose, when he would have been pretty ugly to work for, but I suppose he was different then.
And it seems like when he comes over here and hangs out with chefs in their restaurant, he seems like he's genuinely interested in people and food.
Yeah, he's made it his career, his life.
Yeah, that's right. Wow.
But yeah, that was intense. That was really intense. And then from there, I worked at Pickett and Lochpierre with Shane Osborn, which is obviously another Australian guy, and then a totally different sort of environment altogether again. I think I found out later down the track we were actually both from Perth. Oh. And I think we might have even gone to the same high school. It was just kind of like, found all of that out later.
So funny, yeah, small world.
Yeah, exactly. But that was intense as well. And then, I did that for, I think, another 2 years between the two. And then was kind of the sous chef at Le Oakridge, which was the sister restaurant at the time. It was one Michelin-starred. And then again, that was just kind of refining everything that I'd kind of learnt the 2 years prior, and doing it at a venue that was a lot smaller. So you had the ability to have a bit more attention to detail and just kind of learn how to work with people again.
Yeah, that's right. And when was your first head chef role?
So I came back from London and sort of went back to the Subiac Hotel for a year because I sort of had some renovations and things like that planned. So I went back for a year, and then it was a bit too much of a sea change coming straight back from London. So, and then I ended up in Melbourne. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And with a Cumulous Inc. for a year.
Okay.
So yeah, and then again, obviously, working for Andrew was great. Lots of, I guess, training around how to train people and management training and things like that, which I've never done before. So that was really great. And obviously, Cumulous is just a factory.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was good. It was tough at the time because I think the head chef was Colin Wood, who's gone off to make cheese now, who we worked together back in Perth at the Subiaco Hotel. So yeah, it was good. It was a good year. It was a tough year, and I learned a lot as far as the management side of it. So that was good.
Yeah.
And then from there, Scott Pickett for 5 years.
Yes.
So that was the original. When I first started with him, it was at the original Estelle, the tiny little, I think it was 20 seats, and outside was some umbrellas, and the bar was the old bowling alley from, I think, the Northcote bowling alley, pink and grey tiles. And that was for, I think it was about a year, and then we turned it into Estelle Bistro. So I think the chefs were the ones smashing all the tiles and getting that sort of renovated. And then, yeah, we did Estelle Bistro, where it was obviously a lot bigger and a different focus again. And so did that for 2 years, and then while we did that, we sort of did like the Australian Open, I think, every summer. So that was a massive undertaking. That's something I'd never ever experienced in my life, and probably not something that I'd put my hand up to go and do. But it's just such a big undertaking to go and do that for 2 weeks a year.
So you had like a small kitchen there, or was most of the prep done off-site, and then how does it work?
So I think the first year was before he did ESP.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was challenging. And then I think, because they have a St. Crispin as well, and then obviously you had the kitchens at Melbourne Park. So yeah, you kind of spread out. Lots of ferrying backwards and forwards every night, trying to get through security, who at times is not always helpful.
Wow.
And then the second year was when ESP was open, so they kind of shut for 2 weeks when that was on. So you just had the whole kitchen to use, so it was a bit easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a different, because it's about the tennis. Everyone wants to eat in 20 minutes, so it doesn't matter if they want 1, 2, or 3 courses. They all want to have it in 20 minutes. So.
Yeah, and it's so crowded, and it's just it's a fun vibe.
Yeah, it's bad when it's over.
Yeah.
And then after that, we opened Pickett's Deli at the markets, which was good, more of a cafe kind of vibe. So yeah, kind of did that for 6 months, and then after that, I was kind of, cafe, breakfast. I don't want to cook breakfast.
No.
So, and then ended up at Oakridge.
What a journey.
I know. I mean, I'm not young, so
Lots of different experiences and lots of different chefs as well. So I really like, with all of them, you've mentioned what you learnt in different places, and I think with any job, if you can keep that idea of learning all the time alive, as well as a degree of love for what you're doing, then that's probably what keeps you going.
Yeah, I mean, everyone says as you get older and older, it's like, what are you going to do? How are you going to kind of adapt to you getting older? But, I don't know. I kind of look at other parts of the world, and you've got people that are like 70 and 80. Not that I want to be 70 and 80 and still working in a kitchen, but you still see them doing what they do because they love it. So I kind of, as long as I'm enjoying it, I like being in the kitchen. I kind of like that short, sharp rush of an hour or two or whatever it is, and still sort of being able to create and be hands-on. Yeah, I can't see that changing soon.
That's great. And where do you get your inspiration? I mean, I've read descriptions of you as being produce-led. So obviously you get inspiration from the season and what's in what produce there is. Do you also look through books, or do you look online now? Where are you getting inspiration?
I don't know. It's just everything, really. There's so much. There's so much available.
Yeah.
And it's everywhere. Yeah. I mean, in some of it you might look at it and think, yeah, you know, I don't like that. But then after, you know, you sit down and you reflect on it in a day or two, and you sort of take elements of what you've seen. So yeah, I just draw inspiration from the world around me, I guess. And
then do you write those ideas down, or you just store them away?
Yeah,
in your head?
I'm not a great one for. I think I've got 5 or 6 recipe books, and occasionally I look through them, and they're literally just a list of ingredients.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to actually remember methods, and there might be a little bit of trial and error. But yeah, most of it just sort of gets locked away in the brain somewhere. Occasionally something will get jotted down. But I have a fairly decent library at home that
nice.
gets pulled out every now and again.
Yeah. And do you like to cook at home?
It's probably more just for sustenance.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, both me and my wife work full time, so it's a juggling act.
Yes.
And sometimes it's more like, let's go out.
Yeah. And why not? That's more inspiration as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess with all that in mind, what would your advice be to a young person starting out as a chef?
Don't be in such a hurry. I think, you know, everyone wants to create, but a lot of the time people don't know how to create because they don't know the basics. So just take the time. I know it's hard because the world around you is so fast-paced, and everyone's always telling you that you need to get from A to B as fast as you can, but I think sometimes it's good just to take a step back and actually learn a craft and absorb. Because, I mean, you can work at 10 amazing places in 5 years, but how much do you actually really absorb and get the full experience if in doing that, you know? Take a step back, take the time.
Good advice. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Aaron Brodie at O'Connell's Hotel. You can check out all the beautiful photos and information on the Great Sunday Roast on Instagram at O'Connell's South Melbourne. That's O'Connell's, OCONNELLS, South Melbourne. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm also on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. You can read this chat online at www.conversationwithachef.com, and of course, you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats. It's still the best way to get these delicious stories out into the world. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit.